Hello, welcome. My name is Didact, and today we'll be taking on a new series called How to Counter. Today, we'll talk about Wrecking Ball. In this series, we'll be discussing every possible counter to Wrecking Ball, such as hard, soft, non-counters, and what actually benefits Ball when picking a hero. So to start off, we start with is hard counters. So we start with Brig. Brig is quite unkillable by Ball. Brig is unkillable because of her armor. She can provide armor to others, making it harder for Ball to kill stuff. Her ult also provides armor, making his primary fire basically rendered useless. She then has her flail, which is a boop. She can use to displace pile drivers, get rid of Ball's speed, or just knock him out of position where he wants to be. Furthermore, her shield bash stuns Ball completely, stops him in his path, and is very hard to deal with Brig for a Ball player. Next up we have Mei. Mei of course blocks off chokes with her Ice Wall, making it impossible to swing past by Wrecking Ball, making him have to use alternative paths. Then we have Mei being basically invulnerable to Ball dives due to her Cryo Freeze. She can also pretty easily survive minefields, and then we of course have her primary fire slowing down Ball, getting rid of his speed which he needs, and her ultimate also countering Ball's speed. Next we have Sombra, who of course can hack Ball whenever she wants to, since Ball cannot do very much about it. He can no longer go for large engages, can only roll through, and if he rolls through he runs a risk of getting hacked. She can also EMP Ball quite easily and EMP Minefield to render it useless. Next up are the soft counters. Then we have McCree. McCree soft counters Ball because Ball is a round character, which perfectly fits into Fam the Hammer spread. Then of course McCree having a flashbang which you can use to interrupt Pile Driver and Ball speed helps a lot. Also McCree can Fam the Hammer, roll Fam the Hammer, cancel ult Fam the Hammer, which kills Ball quite quickly. So there's not much Ball can do. He can not really engage the McCree. He can only really engage when McCree does not have flash. Next up is Hog. Hog cannot be killed very easily by a Ball. Of course Hog can be displaced quite easily, but he is a big tank. He has a lot of HP. He cannot be killed that easily. Also, again, it's a shotgun hero, which spread is round, Ball is a round character. Then he has the hook, which of course can interrupt pile drivers and large engages by Ball. Hog can also tank mines quite easily with his Take a Breather. Next up is Reaper, who is invulnerable to getting pile drive basically by having his Wraith. He's also invulnerable to the mines because he can fade through it. Reaper's shotguns deal massive damage to Ball because of his round hitbox. There's not much a Ball can do to kill a Reaper. Next up is Ana. Ana can sleep dot the Ball in an engage when he wants to pile drive or when he wants to go for a swing. Other than that, Ana has a very small hitbox, which makes it hard for Ball to hit good headshots. Also, her nade is very bad for Ball when he cannot get healed while being in the enemy team. Other than that, if Ana doesn't have sleep or nade, you can go for her quite easily. Next up is Torb. Torb has armor. He has an ability which provides armor, which means Ball's primary fire is rendered useless for that amount of time. Next up is his Slam, which Torb can of course tank with his ability. Swinging and Pile will do the most damage through armor though. His Molten Core clears mines completely, and his turret is Ball's job to deal with, so he's gonna be a bit distracted by it. Next up is Bastion. Ball cannot do very much against Bastion because again, round spread, high damage potential, and he does not get displaced by Ball's roll or pile driver. The only way a Bastion can be killed by a ball is through a minefield, which kills the Bastion quite easily, and of course ball can also displace people trying to protect the Bastion. Then we come to the skill dependent or even matchups, which are matchups that ball can win if played correctly, but sometimes can lose if you're outskilled or if the positions are bad for you. We have D.Va. With D.Va, you want to outrange her, be not too close to her wonderful shotgun-like cannons, because again, high damage potential, but if you're far enough away, you can win that 1v1. D.Va bomb kills your mines, so be careful of that, and you can use your pile driver and grapple hook to get rid of her armor quite easily. Can also use the downtime when she tries to matrix to like use your pile driver or use your swing on her. Next up is Sigma. Sigma is a neutral matchup since you can just go past his shield. However, he still has his suck to eat up your bullets when you pile drive or knock him away. And of course he can rock you when you're trying to engage. Next up is Zarya. You win the Zarya 1v1 if she is low charge. However, her bubble counters your pile driver. And of course you don't want to give her too much charge, because then she will win the 1v1. Next up is Echo. You cannot really do much since she's a flying character. However, when she gets to the ground, you can pile drive her and kill her quite easily. You just need to wait for that prestigious time. Also, when she has ult, you can't really do much against her. You can only zone her out maybe. And sticky bombs plus laser equals a lot of damage against you, especially if you have like 1000 HP and you get under half. The laser will basically annihilate you. Again, the ball matchup. Ball counters himself in every aspect possible. Pile driver counters pile driver, swing counters swing, so that matchup is pretty even. With Doomfist, you can dodge his slam quite easily. His punch, however, if he hits you, is going to be quite diminishing, and you can pile driver him, for example. You can displace him. Also, you cannot really do much against your minefield. He can clear it with his ult, but that's all he can do. For Symmetra's turrets get rid of your speed. Her wall doesn't really do much. And she doesn't have a mobility, so when you pile drive her or when you go for the swing into a pile driver, she will die quite easily. Next up is Junkrat. Junkrat cannot do very much. However, if you get stuck in a trap, you're just dead. If you are too close to him, you can probably mine away. So you can't really do much against Junkrat, but Junkrat cannot really do much either, except if you get stuck in a trap. Same goes for Tracer. Tracer's just going to use her mobility to dodge your pile driver and swings. So she's trying to get out of Ball's range of effectiveness. However, if you get a good swing or if you get a good pile driver and you can follow up with your shots, you can kill her quite quickly. For non-counters or characters that basically don't do much against Ball, or Ball has sometimes an advantage even, we have Winston, which can't really do much against Ball because his Tesla cannon doesn't do much against armor, and his Primal, of course, can only displace Ball, and he still dies to mines and everything Ball can do. We have Reinhardt. Reinhardt can't really do much against Ball. He cannot really stop him in his tracks, do anything about him. He can only clear minefield with his shield, and that's about it. For Pharah, Pharah doesn't do much against Ball. She can displace him with the wonderful concussive blast, but that's all she can do. Also, Ball can quite easily like just fly into the air with his swing and try to get some hits on her in the air. For Baptiste, of course, he can heal himself. However, if he gets caught out, he can get knocked out of his immortality field and then pile drived and then killed. So, not really a counter. There's also no abilities that counter Ball. For Ashe, Ashe can of course displace Ball with her coach gun if he tries to engage, but that's all Ashe can do. Of course, Bob does kind of zone Ball out, but that doesn't really do anything either. For Hanzo can only jump away out of the pile driver. That's all Hanzo can do. The damage is not enough to kill a Ball, and because he doesn't have any CC, Ball just gets away. For Orisa, Orisa's pretty safe against Ball because of her like immortal form being the golden form of Orisa. Her Bongo can't really do much. Her shield Ball just gets past, and there's nothing Orisa can really do. Moira, she can fade out of the Power Driver and fade away from swings and mines, but she can't really do anything against the Ball. For Lucio can just run away, but again, doesn't have any abilities that could counter Ball. Of course, he can try and beat a minefield, but that doesn't do much either. It just waits to beat most of the time. For Mercy doesn't have an ability to do anything against Ball, and Mercy doesn't really get bullied by Ball because she can just Angel Jump Abuse her way out of the Pile Driver or anything that Ball tries to do with his swing. For the countered by Ball section, we have Zenyatta. Zenyatta doesn't have an ability that can get him out of a Pile Driver or a swing. Also, he cannot really move out of the minefield. He has to use Trance for it. This way, because he's very Glass Cannon, he just gets killed quite easily by Ball. And if you pick Zenyatta against a Ball, you're destined to die multiple times. For Genji also gets kind of countered by Ball since his Reflect doesn't do very much. He gets displaced when trying to Blade. The Ball could use a minefield to zone him out when he tries to Blade, so he can't kill anything. So you mostly die against the Ball. For Widow, if she doesn't have grapple, the Ball just wins the 1v1 flat out. Ball doesn't have a head hitbox while in Ball form, and she cannot stun him out, so she dies quite quickly. Same goes for Soldier. If he doesn't have his healing station, Soldier is an easy target, and if he has his healing station, he can just get knocked out of that healing station from Ball and then Pile Drive, so he dies very, very quickly. Yeah, that's it. There's not much more you can talk about with this. I'll be doing another one of those like every week probably. So stay tuned for that. I hope this helped on how to counter Ball, and I see you in the next one. Smile.